Okay, so welcome to my session. In this session, I will talk about building awesome responsive database apps in the cloud. So my name is Dimitri Gielis. I'm coming from far, far away. I'm coming from Belgium, and it's my first time in Singapore, and I really love it. So who is actually from not Singapore? Oh, so it's even an international crowd here. A little bit about myself. I started, I love the Oracle database in general, but how did I come to that? I really believe in data. Data is the asset of every company. And where is the best way to keep your data in the database? And then I wanted to do things with that data. And at some point, I wanted to have that data available in applications on the web. So in 2004, I stumbled across something called Oracle Application Express, and that really changed my life. So since then, I only worked with that, and I specialized in that area. I won a couple of awards. I also try to share my knowledge. I have a blog, and I talk on conferences. But it's my first time I'm at an Oracle Code conference. So it's very new faces for me. So it's nice to meet you. So if you have any questions during the session, you can just ask. If you want to speak to me afterwards, I'm more than happy to speak to you. It's also my first time in Asia, so I'm really excited to be here. I have a company called Apex R&D. That's where I spend most of my time. I'm the CEO of that company. We do development, training, and support in Oracle Application Express. We also have a product that extends Apex, and that's to do printing. If you want to get a PDF or you want to export to Excel from your Oracle database, you can use that product. You find my blog here. I try to share my knowledge there, and I'm also on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, you can reach me there as well. Okay, so this session, I really want to stay on the edge of things. So I don't want to do any slides. You can download, in the app, you can download slides, and they are a bit further down. I have those slides for a reference, but I'm going to do everything live. So you see what it takes to build a complete responsive web-based application. And I arrived Sunday very late, so I had some time on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday to explore Singapore. And I found this place, Lau Pa Sat. And it's like, whoa, this is like so much food. I really like food. So the food was really good. So I thought I'm going to change my entire team of this session, and I'm going to build an application for this place. So the manager, he can manage the food courts that are on that place, and you have people who can vote on the food places, if they like it or not. So that's the team that I want to give you. So what we will build is, we have places, or we will call them food courts. We will have some images there. I downloaded them from internet. We have some people, and they can vote on what they like. And then we have some administrator pages. Okay? Again, if you have any questions during the session, just let me know. So, and I will use a tool called Oracle Application Express. So who is familiar with this tool? So only a few hands. So normally when I speak at Oracle conferences, the room is full of people using this technology. And then I speak as like a guru to them. So here, it's very different. I have to tell you what is Oracle Application Express. But so again, I don't want to spend too much slides on this. What is this tool? You can go to apex.oracle.com and you can sign up. It's for free. So you get started there. Basically, it comes with any Oracle database. So if you have the Oracle database, you have Oracle Application Express. And it's the fastest way to build web-based applications on the internet. So database applications. So what you can do is, so you go here, you sign up, and I'll show you that as well. So we go to this site. I can sign in. I already signed up for an account, so I'm just going to sign in. And I'm doing everything live, so hopefully the internet is going to be good. Let me try again. So sign in. So Apex, it's a rapid application development tool for your Oracle database, and the only thing you need is a browser. So well, the Wi-Fi is not the greatest, it looks like. So that's when you do things in the cloud. Okay, in the meantime, I might want to start my VM and see if the Wi-Fi gets better or not. Well, let me try to restart the browser and see if that helps. So apex.oracle.com, then sign in. Can I use this internet connection here? Can I use that too? Will that be faster than the Wi-Fi? Because it would be nicer to show it straight on the internet. Oh, I have a nice Apple laptop which doesn't have like an Ethernet connection. So. Yeah, okay, so that doesn't work.
I can borrow you my adapter.
Sorry?
I can borrow you my adapter.
Oh yeah, okay. Can I give it? Can you give it to me? I guess it's because there are many people in the room, or maybe I need to just turn off the Wi-Fi and turn it back on or so. Okay. Like this is quite fast. Okay, so, okay, oof, live demo. Okay, so we have a browser. If you have an internet connection, you're golden. If you don't have it, you need to have a local database. So when you log in to this tool, this is the first thing you see. You have an application builder, and you have some SQL Workshop, it's called. It's basically the view to your database. So I'll open this as a new link. So here I have, in SQL Workshop, I have an object browser, so I can see all the objects that are in my database, okay? What I will do is, we don't have anything yet for this low-passat management system, so we will create our database objects. Again, data is the most important part for me, so I want to create some tables to store those data. So I will go to SQL scripts. Then I will go to QuickSQL. And here on the left-hand side, I can type some things in. And on the right-hand side, it will generate code for me to execute scripts on the database. So what do we need for our management system? We have people. We have a first name. We have a last name. We want to know if they are visitor. So while I type here on the left, and this is like a markdown style, on the right, my table scripts are generated. So this is really awesome, I think. It will not only create this table, it will also create some triggers to, because like I like an ID as my primary key, so it will generate that. But it can do more, like here it's a visitor, it's just a yes-no flag. So we want to change that. So I say varchar2 1. So no, it changed it like this. But I also want only values with yes and no. So I need a check like this. So now it added a constraint, so I don't get invalid data in my database. Again, like it's the, yeah, it's, you don't want bad data in your database. So then I also have like a credit limit, because as the manager of La Passat, I want to know who has much money to spend. So I'm going to store the credit limit of the people, and this is a number, okay? Then here, I need some sample data to work with. I don't want you to look at me writing or adding some data, so I will say insert me, let's say 50 records. So if I go and look now, I get here insert statements with sample data, okay? So what else do we need? Food stall. Food stall has a name. We want to store the image. The image is of type file. And if you look at the script, what it actually did is like it added a blob. This is a binary large object, so the image will be stored in this column. But it also added the file name, if it is like a PNG, a JPEG, so the MIME type, and the last day of that thing. And then we want the name to be a unique key. And maybe we want some sample data here as well. So maybe 5. And then we have a table called votes. And we need foreign keys to people and food stall. So we want to say here, okay, this person, so people ID is a foreign key to this table, and food stall ID is a foreign key to this table here. So let's see if our script did that. Yeah, so it added those things in. No, I want some sample data here as well. And like it will generate that as well. Okay, so you see the grasp of how fast you can create database objects in this way. Okay, if you want to know, like I know many of those things. For example, maybe I want email to email needs to be unique. So I can just say this needs to be unique. You can click on help and you get any of the, like what you can use if you want check constraint, if you want some constants or some defaults, you can add it in here. So help is fully included. Then here you have some settings as well. Typically with every project, I prefix my tables with like a trigram. So for Singapore, maybe I will use like SYN for all my schemas, for all my objects. And I also like audit columns. There are some more options here. So I save those changes. So now it will add the audit columns created by created date, who updated the record. And it also prefixed the tables with this trigram. So let me go to here and copy this in. So what you can do as well, you can save those scripts and you can give them to somebody else, and then they can run it as well. So they have sample data, they have their objects. So, and the settings you can do like this. So let's say we are happy with this. Here, I didn't say that, but cuisine. So I want to store if it is local food, is it Thai food, Indian food, like all those nice things. Here, I'm also creating a view. So that's it. You save this script. Let's call it Singapore. Save the script. Review and run. OK, so here's my script. I can now check it if it looks good. And then I can run. OK, run now. So now behind the scenes, my objects are created in the Oracle database. So I can check here, 17 with an error. This is probably sample data, so I can check here what went wrong. Yeah, so integrity constraints, so some sample data didn't run correctly, but that's fine, okay? If we go to SQL Workshop, we go now to Object Browser. We should see here, send people. This is our table, and we see the data, the sample data, okay? So again, for me, this is the fastest way to build your database just by a script. And we have sample data. So now I can talk to the manager and say, OK, this didn't really do much. Like they don't understand the database, but let me go back to the script. Sorry, view results. So there's also a button here, and I didn't do it straight away, but I could have done. Create app from script. So I can click this button. So now we will build an application on top of this data model, this what we just created, all those objects. So here's the application wizard. So this is the same as going to here, and then application builder, and say create a new application. I just used the button there. So, OK, how do we call this? Law Passat. We can change the look and feel if we want. By default, Oracle Apex created already some pages for us based on the script that we had, but we can add some more. There are also some features. Let's say we want an about page. We want feedback, that people can give feedback about our application. We want that. And we have some advanced settings, and we are not going to look into that. The people here, this will create some report and a form, but as you didn't see Apex yet, I will show it to you in a minute what it created. But I'm going to edit this, and I want to have a different icon. I want to have a people icon. Save those changes. For food, the food stalls, I want to have like a food icon. So let's see, we have like some food thing. OK, this one. So you can see that you can change things here. I can also add a page. Let me add a master detail. So votes, master detail. Our table, let's say we want to have the food stall. And we want to see the details of the people who like that food stall. We want to see, like, here the name, and maybe the cuisine. And here the detail table is, because we have a foreign key, Apex recognized this. So, OK, so this is OK. Oh, my button is a bit lower. Add page. And I'll add another page. Again, master detail, but now with an editable grid. Votes, editable. We take the table, again, food stalls. And our detail table is this one. So there are many more like things you can add, like dashboards and like calendars. But just for now, I just want to show you what it is. Create application. So now it needs a bit of time to create the application. So any question before I go into the application, either of the creation of the database objects with QuickSQL. Active time limit exceeded. So any questions before we go on? Oh. OK. Let's see if we have to do it again or if it is OK. So on the apex.oracle.com, they put in protection that you don't kill the server. So any long-running processes, they kill. Let's see what we have here. So it created an application, but it didn't create my things, my administrator pages. Let me try it again. So we go to SQL Workshop, SQL Scripts, Results, create application from this script. Add a page, also detail. Send food stall. We want to see the name and cuisine and detail table. This one. Add page. Change this icon. Change this icon. Add another one. Foods, editable grid or table. Send food stall, detail table, this one, add page. And I want to have this, create application. So now it's creating the features. OK, so it did that. So behind the scenes, it created 32 pages. So let's just run this application. So this is what we got after, let's say, 10 minutes, right? So Apex already created some authentication schemes. We don't want it to be public-facing application. So there's some authentication. You can hook it up to Facebook authentication or do some other kind of authentication. This is built-in authentication. We sign in. And this is our first Apex application. So the fastest way for me to build database applications on the web, which are responsive, so I can make this smaller. And you see this menu is going to the left. If this is on the iPhone, you see that it's going like this. If you have an iPhone X, which is a little bit bigger, you see the icons here. You can click on those. So for me, again, fastest way to build applications. So we have a home page, and we have people. Let's go to the people. So here is, and this is called an interactive report. So you can search here. If I search for Aruri, for example, I have that. So it has built-in filters. There are many things that you can do here. You can do highlighting. But I don't really have the time to go over all those options. But just so you have an idea what it is doing, so it's highlighting. All this is built in, and people can, or business people can do that themselves. So as a developer, we quickly build applications. But then as an end user, you get a lot more because the framework that Apex provides gives you all those functionalities for free. So we have this. We can change it. We click the edit button. Let's say visitor, this is a visitor. We set it to yes, apply changes. Now it's set to yes here. If we make mistakes like credit limit is a number, and I try to put an A in, it has built-in checks. Because, again, on the database side, we set as a number. It's not a varchar 2, and Apex knows how to deal with that. So let's say it's 500, apply changes, and now it automatically updated, and it's now 500. Same with food stalls. So here I have an interactive report. I can change those things. I don't have images yet. We need to have that in a minute. The votes, we have this. But then I created master detail, which looks like this. So I can click on, this is my food stall, called like this. And then I see here the votes. I don't really see, I need to make some changes now here. And here is the editable view. So here is my food stall. I can click on it, and I see the votes that are underneath. And I can change that. Or I can add a row and then add a person to it. Then the last section, the features that I said that I want, is in the administrator section. So here we have some options. We can also change the look and feel if you don't like this. Either you go to Team Roller, and so either you play with CSS, or there's something built in, which is called Team Roller, where you can change the look and feel of the application. So just by selecting some colors. So either you do this, or built in, we set allow the person to change the theme of this application. You can pick, let's say, a red theme, apply the changes, and now it's a red theme, okay? There's also some dashboards, so to see who is using the application. Those pages are the most active ones. Who's the top users. If there are application errors, like I made an error on the credit limit, it's stored here as well. There are some views for page performance. There are many things here. What I like as well, in every application I build, I put a feedback mechanism. So I give this application to L'Opassat, and they are using it, and they say, well, I don't really like this because of, don't like the color. Okay, they submit a feedback, and now all this feedback is captured in one place in the application, and as a developer, I can see all the feedback that there was. Somebody else might say, I love this color. So now I can go here, feedback, user feedback, and I see, like, Dimitri, he loved this color. Well, he wasn't really consistent. Probably he drank one time and then. So, but you get the grasp of this. When you look at the public, they speak about low-code development. So far, this has been low-code development. Just by using QuickSQL to create our tables, or our database objects, then we use the button create application, a wizard, to build this application, and this is full-fledged. It's secure, performant, it runs on the database. So far we have done that. Now the nice thing with Oracle Application Express is that you can change this. So you don't have to stay in the wizard things. I want to change things now. Let's say here, with the food styles, I want to add that image. I want to customize some screens. So the first thing I will do, this screen, I will edit the page. And I don't really have time to explain all the different components of Apex. You need to get a bit used to it, but here on the left, you see the page that you have, and in a page you have different regions. A region has a type, and this region, for example, it's just an HTML region. Here are items on the page, and buttons on the page. So if you look here, so it's a modal dialog in this case, but there's a region and there are some items and here are some buttons. Okay? So I want to change this image and I need to give it a bit more information. Image, MIME type. So now we are still in the Apex framework. We are going to do some customizations. So image, file name, and image last update. Let's save that. So what I want to do is I'm going to change this, and I will include an image, fishing soup. This is probably not, let's say this is local. Apply changes. Okay, so I have this. Let me add another one. Choose file. So here this is Ki Lian Ban. What kind of food do you think? Maybe it's Indian or Chinese or I don't know. Like, I'll just leave it to Korean. But let's say I want another report on this page with the images, right? So I can edit this page, and I can create a region. There are different types here. I will say I want an interactive report. The location, so where is this data coming from? Is it from the local database where Apex is running into? Is it from a remote database? Or is it from a web source, like a REST web service? So in this case, local database. Is it a table? Yeah, I can do a table, but I will just do a SQL query. If you know SQL, which is a really powerful language to query your data, you can use a lot of those things in Apex. You're a king in Apex if you know SQL. So I'll enter a SQL statement. I'll just copy and paste from here. And I'll show you in a minute what it's doing. So I add this SQL statement, and I basically, I query this table, and I have the ID, the name, the cuisine, then the image, but I cannot really show the image like this. I need to, this is just the length of the image to see if I have an image. And then here I get this, so here I'm doing a little bit different, and this is where you are going outside of low code. So here I'm doing a call to the framework, APEX-util. It's a package. And in that package, you find a function called getBlobFileSource. It will basically give me the URL to the image. So let's save this, and let's call it a new report. And let's run that. So now here I have the same thing. So I have an interactive report here, which the wizard created for us, and I added an interactive report here. So I can hide, for example, the ID column. I don't really need that. Okay, the image URL, I don't really need that either. But the image, I really want to see the image there. So let's edit this a bit more. Let's go to image. And instead of plain text, I want to say display an image. I need to give it a little bit more detail. So what is the table? Sin food stall. My blob is image, and the ID is this. The MIME type, is this one. My file name is called this. Okay, save that. Let's run it again. And now I see an image here. Okay? This is quite big. We don't really want to see it that big. So we want to make it a little bit different. And again, this is where Apex really shines, because we stayed within the framework. We know Apex, we changed a little bit of the things, and we see images now. But this is a web application, so we can either extend Apex by going into the database and doing some procedures, functions there, where like we did the URL, the generation of the URL, or we are in the web, we can use some JavaScript, some CSS, some HTML5 to enhance our application. So I'm just going to use some CSS to make this image a bit smaller. So I'll give this an ID. Let's say report, or like food style. So in my CSS, I can now say for this region, all the images, I want it to be a width of 200 pixels. So in the framework, there's built-in places where you can add CSS, or you can reference a file where you have a lot of CSS. The same with JavaScript. You can reference a file, you can put in some functions, or you do some calls here. So save. So let's say, see if those images, so no, those images are just 200 pixels wide. There's another view of the interactive report. Again, if you know a little bit about the framework, you can do a lot more. So here in attributes, I can go and I can say I want an icon view. My link column, my image is this, and my label is name. Let's call this. So now I have a different view here. I can click on this, and now I have my data like this. Okay? So again, it didn't take much to code all this. Any questions? No? You like it so far? Yes? Yes?
My question is, if whatever updates we do in the application, are those directly done in database?
Yes, so the question, I will repeat the question. The changes that we are doing in our application, is this directly in the database? And the answer is yes. So the Apex framework lives in the Oracle database. So any changes that you make here, in fact, it's some tables, some metadata tables are updated behind the scenes. So the nice thing with this is that if your database is backup, your application is backup. So if, like before this session, I got a question, I really like this application. I want to give it to somebody else. How do I do that? So you go here, you go to the application, and there's an export and import. You can go here, and you can say, export this application, and it will basically generate one file, a SQL file. And here's a file. You go to your hosting provider that provides Apex hosting, and you import it there. So you would go to Application Builder in the new environment. You would say import. You choose the file, and that's it. You're done. So it's really fast deployment of Apex applications as well. You can version control this as well. For example, every night we export the Apex application from command line, and we import that in our version control system. So there are different ways of doing that. Okay? So how do you give this application to, sorry, this one. How do I give this application to the low Passat owner? The only thing I have to do is give him this URL, and if I want to make it a little bit nicer, I can go here. I can say edit application properties, and I can say low Passat. Let's go to Safari. Or you can actually do it from your own browser if you like, or from your phone. Let's see if I can. Low Passat. So if you use this URL, you should go straight into my application. There it is. There's my application that we just built together. I log in. Sign in, and I can make some changes here as well. You can change the authorization here, that who can see what and all that, but you get ID. So if this credit limit, I change it here to 100. And if I go here, check here, it's 100 now, okay? So, okay, let me see. We have 5 minutes left. What I wanted to show more. So people, they also like charts. So what we will do is we'll edit the application, and we will add a new page to it, add a blank page. We say, OK, I'm going to add a dashboard. We will use a breadcrumb. Next, create me a new navigation item in this left-hand side. So now I created a new page. So we are extending our application with new functionalities. So we have a page here, we have a dashboard, and now we want to add some charts to this page. So we go here, create a region. We go to static region. We say, OK, the type is a chart this time. And my region, the location, I want to go to my local database. I want to give it a SQL query again. Let me copy and paste this one. So again, you need to know a little bit of SQL, because here I'm doing a combination of this table, and I count the number of votes for that person, for that food stall. Then here, I need to define which values I want to see. So the label is the name, and the value is the count. Save that. Run the page. And now I have a dashboard with some charts. So let's say you don't like this type of chart. You can change all that. So that's built in. It's native. You can have a bar. Here you see all the different types of charts. Let's say you want a bar, but you don't want it to be vertical. You want it to be horizontal. You can save that. Run the page. And now you have a horizontal bar. So you can add multiple. So let me quickly create another chart here. So we go here, chart, location, local database, SQL query. Let me copy the SQL. So this is the same as before, like a count star, but now we do it on cuisine. And instead of bar, we say we want a pie chart, and we need to define the values. They are defined in the region sort. The label is cuisine, and the count is this value. Save. Run. So now we have this. We want them next to each other. So you can go here, region. You say, start new row. No. This is behind the scenes using a grid system, 12 columns. So you can define how many columns every region want to have. But here now they are lined up next to each other. We want to have a report underneath this. Again, you would follow the wizard to create a report to build that. Let's say you want to print this. And so how do you do that then? Let me go to the other, So Apex has some built-in print functionality, but they're not the most sexy ones. And if Apex doesn't have something, there's a big community out there. So you can go to shared components, you can go to plugins, and you can extend Apex with plugins. So here I can import a plugin, and I can, for example, import the one that we created, the Apex Office Print plugin. So it's just importing a plugin, and you extend the functionalities of Apex with a plugin. So I don't have time, I see, to show you Apex Office Print. I would really have loved to show you because it's my own baby. But I'm happy to show it after my session if you want that. Or you can always, like I have some business cards here, you can always come up to me as well. Let me quickly see here. So that was the last part that I didn't come to. Let me go back to the slides. So if you like this and I really hope you liked it. You can go to apex.oracle.com, and I don't work for Oracle. I have my own company. We only do Apex, so we have a whole business just doing this. You can go there and you can get started. I hope the people at Low Passat were happy. I was really happy with the food I got there. And there's a whole community. So there are not that many people here who are actually using Apex or know Apex, but there's a whole community out there. When you go to apex.world, you see Twitter feeds, you see Slack, you see news that comes there. So this is built by people like you and me who are developers, and we are trying to share our knowledge there. There's actually a friend of me who's from Singapore. His Twitter handle is Fuzzy Brain, Adrian. He told me just before this session, like, if I convince somebody of you to do Apex and you want to make a career out of this, you can talk to him. He is only doing Apex too. So, and he's from Singapore. So if you download the slides, this is basically the agenda that I have. On my blog, you find a lot more how to get started with Apex and how I build applications. It's a different kind of application, which I normally do, but now I changed it a bit for Singapore. But you can find a lot more on my blog. And when you download the slides, you have all those slides. So let me just go to the last, where you find my details. If you have any question, then feel free to contact me. And otherwise, I really hope you enjoyed the session. Oh. Yeah, you have a question?
Is it possible to do any custom coding? For example, I want to implement extra validation logic or processing logic. Or probably I want to add any dynamic features to the web page. Is it possible to do that? Any custom coding?
So can you extend your Apex application? And the answer is totally yes. I showed a little bit of where you can do some CSS. You can use JavaScript. There's also some built-in functionality that I didn't show, which are called dynamic actions, which are a framework on top of JavaScript to do things dynamically, to do some Ajax and etc. If you want to write real code, the blueprint or like the QuickSQL that I showed actually has some code in as well. And so that code is PL/SQL. It's in the database, and you can code all the things there. So it depends where you want to have your logic. We typically, all the business logic is in the database. We have packages there, and we develop that with PL/SQL. If you have something on the web and you need to make things dynamic there, we use JavaScript or CSS or HTML5 functionalities. So some of the things are in the framework. If they are not, you can extend them, and you can make a plugin out of them. Before, is that answer on your question?
Yes. Okay. For the server side, is it possible to do any program like Java besides SQL?
So do you need any Java skills? No.
No.
The server side.
Let's say I do have some business logic to implement. Is it possible to write any programming language, do any programming language like Java to implement this logic? Like any extra validation or processing logic?
So on the server side, you use PL/SQL. If you want to use some Java, you can write a PL/SQL wrapper around that Java program. But most of the integration, let's say you want to integrate with SAP or you want to integrate with like other systems, you do that through REST web services or API calls. That's how you typically do that. Can I quickly take a picture of the audience? Because you're totally new to me, so. Like when we go to the conferences, like we have things like an Apex conference, like people put their hands in the air, but I'm not going to ask that here. So, so thank you so much. I think we ran out of time. I hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to come to me afterwards.